the Palace of Speed. Early on in this race. If ever there was a project to symbolize dogged determination against huge odds, then Twin Ring Motegi would be it. It was built by Honda as a facility to showcase its products to both its customers and the wider world. It was more than 10 years in the making and constructed on a size and scale unsurpassed anywhere across the globe. Damage from an earthquake in 2011 led to subsidence, which has rendered the oval course unsuitable for continued racing, but the track continues to host an active schedule of races on the road course. My name is Alex Andersen. I am joined in the commentary booth by Jacob Cummings with Adam Thompson in our virtual production truck. We are at Twin Ring Motegi tonight for the first race of Season 11 of the Spec-5 World Tour season. And Jacob, I know this is your first race covering this league, and get ready for a show, my friend.
Yeah, I'm excited. I mean, these drivers are going around the track. They're looking sharp out there pre-race, and I'm excited to see what this open class and pro class will do.
Most certainly, they always put on an absolutely amazing show. So currently, Ronnie Coates sits on the provisional pole by just under 3/10. It looks like he's going for another lap. Otis Adams just under 3/10 behind him. Then Camden Hibbett back. Michael Coates is up there as well. Then Sean Ruiz and Mitchell Peak. We're going to go for an on-board lap as Ronnie Coates going to head to the final couple of corners. He'll head to this little... I'm not really sure whether to call it a chicane or not. It's maybe just a complex the last couple of corners, but Ronnie Coates is going to come through it as fast as he can. Nonetheless, you can see how much he's almost just spinning that thing out. So down the front straightaway to start his flying lap, and he'll head into turn number one, a break at about just before the 50 board. Gets it nice, turned in, doesn't really get it too sideways, nice and under control. Full throttle very early, down a short chute towards turn number 3. This is where a lot of time can be made up with the draft of these cars. They race slow, so the slipstream affects them a lot, and they are able to use it to their advantage. Through turns 3 and 4, much like 1 and 2, only it's a little bit wider, you have a little bit more track to work with, and Ronnie Coates does a great job heading through those couple of corners. Now we'll head into turn number 5 into the hairpin, onto the brakes, first gear. That's something you don't see very often in a road car. Under the Bridgestone Bridge, he's heading under where the oval layout is right now. And up into third gear, this corner is full throttle. And it'll head through this, well, it's pretty much a high-speed chicane that a lot of these drivers have to navigate pretty much on edge. As one mistake through this series of corners can lead to the car just coming right around. You see how loose it is and how much Ronnie's having to wheel it around this track and into a hairpin that's going to lead into a short chute. First gear early on the gas, just trying to keep the car clean, keep it smooth. And I'll head up towards the hairpin on this lap. It looked like his last lap wasn't his best. We'll see if he can pick it up this time through the hairpin. This is where you're going to see a lot of dive bomb moves. And now down what I'm going to call the back straightaway here. This is where you're going to see a lot, and I mean a lot of moves tonight.
Alex, I would expect...
Out of that hairpin. Oh, excuse me.
I would expect the most moves. We just had a message here in live chat from Most Mint asking if there was going to be slipstream. Would it be a factor at this track? Yes. Where we just watched him go through, down into that corner, we're going to see quite a few overtaking attempts, I would assume.
Yeah, you are definitely right about that. Is the slipstream with how slow these cars are. I mean, they aren't very fast, not a lot of horsepower under these Miatas, and just that slipstream is going to really help them out down these straights, and that's what we usually see at pretty much every race in this series, the slipstream just keeping the entire front pack together. If we look at Sean Hayes, currently leading the open class, Jacob, he's doing a great job at it.
Yeah, he is ripping around the corners like nobody's business. He is ready to race. I mean, these other guys, I don't know. It'll be quite the race.
It definitely will be quite the race, and it's hard to judge who's ever gonna win in this field, and that's just how it is every race. You never know who is going to come out on top. Everybody's always pushing, they're always on it. Literally anybody in the field could walk out of Twin Ring Motegi with a win tonight. Here's Scott Keane heading down a bit of a short chute into turn number 5. He'll get on the brakes into this hairpin, and it looks like we have a new provisional pole sitter as Otis Adams just went fastest there with a 2:13.7. It looks like he's maybe doing a little bit of celebrating there. Either that or maybe preparing for another lap. Don't know if he'll get to it, though. But it looks like with Ronnie Coates, it looks like a little bit of fun wrecking there for him. Ronnie Coates, however, is on another flying lap. Here he is. He'll head to the short chute up towards the hairpin. And it looks like there might be a fight for pole here. Is Ronnie Coates going to get onto the brakes into the hairpin? We'll see if he can just get a good exit. He gets the car rotated early, onto the gas, nice and neat. Now he just has to flat-foot it down this back straightaway and just hope for as much momentum as he can get. Halfway down this straight now, starts heading down the hill. This is what helps these cars a lot, this downhill section of track. Yeah, he's got 4 yellow sectors to his name, so I'm not sure if he'll be able to improve. Out of the hairpin now at the end of the back straightaway through the final couple of corners. Ronnie Coates is going to try and best Otis Adams Jr. I'm not sure if he's going to get him, though. Out of the final corner, onto the curbs, down to the wall. It looks like just stops that lap, realizes he's not going to get anything out of it. And here's Lee Martin now on another flying lap. This will be his last shot at pretty much just a better starting position. Jacob, you think he can do it?
I really think he as long as he stays tight in these corners and he gets on it in these straights, I think he might be able to put something together in this last lap.
I think he's going to be okay here. It just really depends. Sector 2, there it is. First green sector there out of Sector 2. So if you watch there at the bottom of your screen, guys, you will see the qualifying splits for all of these drivers. Right now, Lee Martin, green Sector 2. Now, it depends. If he can get a green Sector 3, he should be able, hopefully able, to get himself up in front of those two open class drivers fighting for that first position, Sean Hayes and Ashley Lyle. Just have to see. That is a green Sector 3, though. Or, sorry, yellow.
Yeah, so that means a bit of lost time, slower than his fastest right now, so we'll have to see what he does as he heads up to the short chute through the hairpin. It looks like he's not even going to get to finish this lap. So you see we're just about 10 seconds away from qualifying coming to a close. So it looks like everybody in the pit lane, realizing they can't get any more laps in, Lee Martin not going to get to finish this one out. Another yellow sector there again. So I'm not sure if he would even have improved. And now we're going to take you through our starting grid for the first race of season 11 of the Spec-5 World Tour. So Otis Adams Jr. takes pole over Ronnie Coates in P2. Camden Hibbett is there in P3. Michael Coates in P4. Sean Ruiz in 5th. Mitchell Peak in 6th. Zach Burke in 7th. Eugenio Polici in 8th, Rui Coimbra in 9th, Scott Keane in 10th, Simon Foweather in 11th, Ray Lombardi in 12th, and behind them, Sean Hayes on open class pole, Ashley Lyle right on his tail, though, there in 14th, Lee Martin there in 15th, Alexander Searle in 16th, Tom Athan in 17th, Brian Zabelski Tom Athan in 17th, Brian Zabelski in 18th, Bruce Silva in 19th, Jose Gonzalez in 20th, Charles Vaccaro in 21st, Paulo Coimbra in 22nd, John Casey in 23rd, Josh Olson in 24th, and Greg Brockway rounds out your field for tonight in 25th. And Jacob, I know it's your first race covering this series, but just off of qualifying, anybody you might try and pull for to see if they can get the win tonight?
I really think Ronnie Coates is going to come through. He'll look pretty solid through the field. Also, in the open class, Vaccaro, I really like him, Charles Vaccaro. Other than that, nobody else is really standing out yet. But these first few laps of this race, I really think it'll be certain.
Yeah, and Charles Vaccaro, past winner in this series, definitely knows how to get it done. And Ronnie Coates is not a bad bet either at all. He was in the fight for the championship last season, just lost it in the final couple of races. I think for the open class, I'm going to have to go for Ashley Lyle. Currently second to Sean Hayes in qualifying, but she has shown a lot of speed behind the wheel of that Miata. For pro class, I got to go with Otis Adams Jr. I know it's kind of a personal habit of mine to commentators curse him, but he's always just so fast. We just have to see if he can get it done. But the iRacing safety car going to dive into the safety of the pit lane. Now it's all up to the drivers as they roll it down the front straightaway. Another season of Spec-5 World Tour action is about to get underway here from Twin Ring Motegi as the drivers await the green flag. And the green flag is out, and we are racing from Twin Ring Motegi. Otis Adams Jr. with a pretty good start, but it looks like Ronnie Coates matching it around the outside. And it looks like already fanning out. That's a car going 3 wide on the inside. That might have been Zach Burke in that red Miata. Yes, it was. Brings himself up into 4th already. Ronnie Coates falls back to 3rd as Camden Hibbett now going to have to try and chase down Otis Adams Jr., Sean Hayes, and Ashley Lyle fighting for the open class lead right now. Looks like Sean holding on to it, but Ashley's there on the inside. They'll go side by side into turns 3 and 4. Everybody's just trying to hang on for now, trying to make sure they don't wreck, and just trying to keep it clean on the first lap of this race. No incidents just yet. And as they head towards turn number 5, Otis Adams Jr. still holding on to this lead. Camden Hibbett is going for it, though. Down the inside towards turn number 6 now is a full throttle corner. It looks like Zach Burke going for another move already on Ronnie Coates this time as they head towards turn number 7. And it looks like 2x2 into that corner. Ronnie Coates is going to hold on to P3. And it looks like Otis Adams Jr. is still going to maintain the lead as Camden Hibbett's still just right on his back bumper, though I reckon. Jacob, you think we might see a move from Camden down this back straightaway?
Yeah, I think it'll be... What do you?
No worries, no worries about that. I do know it's your first time up here in the booth, so don't worry about that at all. But to answer that question, I really think Camden Hibbett could get a move done here down this back straightaway. I mean, we know how much the draft affects these cars, so I wouldn't expect him to just sit in line unless he might try and save some fuel here, as these drivers will have to make one required pit stop. But Camden Hibbett got to ride in line for now, just kind of hang out back there in the number 32 car. Ronnie Coates still just trying to hang on there as well. It looks like Sean Hayes has put a car in between him and Ashley Lyle there. And it looks like there's... Oh, excuse me, I was looking at the wrong car. Alexander Searle is currently separating the two open class leaders at the moment. Then Lee Martin separates Ashley Lyle from third place in the open class, Josh Olson. But down the front straightaway, Camden Hibbett still just riding the back bumper of Otis Adams Jr. now as they head through turns 1 and 2. And Camden, I mean, we know how fast he is. He just really hasn't been able to pull anything off yet in this series, but has definitely shown a lot of speed in that car, and he's definitely showing it here tonight as he once again tries to challenge for the lead. And really, I mean, I think it's time to mention that I didn't think Rui Coimbra was in this race, but currently he's sitting there in P8. I had no clue he even connected to this session. In practice, I never saw his name up there. So, Jacob, if you're looking for a guy to look out for, Rui Coimbra is definitely one of them. And this driver, I mean, we know how fast he is, has several championships in this series. Didn't get it last season off of fuel strategy at Road America, but still so fast.
Sorry to cut you off here, Alex, but we have got a battle right now going here for the top 3 overall and in the pro class. It is switching back and forth. Hibbett looks like he's got the move done on Otis Adams Jr., but Coates is not far behind, and oh my goodness, here comes Zach Burke even going to get involved in this action.
Yeah, made a very quick move there to take over P3. He gained 3 spots on the first lap, and already on lap 2 gains 1 more. This is going to put him well within striking distance of these leaders if he so wants to make a move of the lead. But Camden Hibbett is your new leader on lap 2 of this race, as we are almost at the 5-minute mark already here tonight, as Otis Adams Jr. now going to have to play a little bit of catch-up to try and regain the lead.
Yeah, he is.
Oh, sorry.
No, yep. Otis Adams, he definitely is going to have to make up some time. But with...
It's all right, you got it. All right, well, and making up some time here, Jacob, that's really all going to come down to using the slipstream in these cars. I mean, that's just how these races go. It's just pretty much everybody using the slipstream as best they can, pretty much right up until the last corner at most tracks, and everybody just has to maintain the slipstream, try and manipulate it and try and just get moves done using it as best as they can. And that's pretty much how a lot of moves are made in this series for new viewers that haven't maybe watched one of these races in the past. That's how a lot of moves are made, just using the slipstream, taking advantage of the draft runs, and just using that to rocket to the lead. And I think I saw 2 cars side by side back there. Could have been Mitchell Peak and Sean Ruiz, maybe. And they're going to fight for it again.
So, Alex, I'm sorry. I'm coming in and out of here of the production. We have an interesting race on our hands here. Is Mitchell Peak still trying to hold on to the inside against Ruiz? But now the inside turns outside. Looks like Ruiz is going to have it. But we mentioned this slipstream down the backstretch. Yeah, that's all fine and dandy, right? But if you've got these drivers battling, look at the interval that Peak has lost to Coates already just by Ruiz and Peak battling. They're already 1.5 seconds behind, but I say that, and there is the battle up here as well. Looked like Hibbett or Zach Burke was trying to get down to the inside, but it looks like this front pack is definitely way more formed up than that really from 6th on back.
And that's another thing with this series is these drivers, I mean, fighting for spots can really just ruin entire races. I mean, as we've seen it happen before last season. Oh, Rui Coimbra, a bit of a bump and run there out of the back straight away, and that was on Sean Ruiz there. That was from the 78 car. I reckon no harm, no foul. The stewards might take a look at that post race, but it looks like, I mean, no harm, no foul done to either driver. And anyways, back to what I was saying, I mean, that's another part of this series, is fighting with each other for position. That's a big part of this league, because yes, you can fight for the lead all you want, but as soon as you start fighting somebody for second or third, that is going to take entire seconds off of your lap time. And might I mention real quick, Ashley Lyle has taken the open class lead, and it pretty much, her and Sean Hayes have swapped positions now, as Searle is now right in front of Sean Hayes. Meanwhile, a couple of laps ago, it was just the other way around, and I'm not sure if I just saw a ghost there in turn number 3, but Adam, I think I just saw a cone maybe go for, maybe jumping for joy there.
I don't know if that was a cone jumping for joy or not. We're going to go here. We've got a Ray Lombardi off track, and of course I've got it at quarter speed because I am the best producer you guys have ever seen. We're going to go ahead and play this full speed here. Ray Lombardi makes the move on Ashley Lyle. Now nope, this is not the issue. He just gets wide, and that's what caused the issue with Sean Hayes, and that's why Ashley is so far ahead of Sean right now.
Yeah, and it looked like she made the move before that, though. So, I mean, at that point, she was already in front of Sean Hayes. So, I think she's just showing a lot of speed there. And that number 96 Miata, as these drivers head through towards the short chute, down towards the hairpin, is Alexander Searle in his first race doing a great job here tonight.
He absolutely is. For a driver that we haven't seen before, and that's not saying he's fast, right? I mean, we know that we've got drivers that come in here all the time, a.k.a. Camden Hibbett from last season, came in about halfway through the season and just started really putting the pressure on these top three guys. Joshua Soto's not in here tonight, but Rui Coimbra, one of the guys that were extremely fast last season at the beginning of the season, kind of fell off. So we do have newer guys coming in here all the time. I keep saying guys, newer people. I apologize, Ashley. I think the only female they've got running in Spec-5 at the moment, but she is absolutely killing it on track. As I say that, Sean Hayes has gotten back around. But, you know, these newer guys, just don't give them, I'm trying to think of the word here, Alex. Don't count them out. That's what I'm going to try to say, because they are absolutely what I would call, some of the people that have come in here are sleepers.
Yeah, and might I remind you, or just mention, Ashley has not lost the open class lead to Sean Hayes. She simply got passed by Alexander Searle, as you were mentioning how fast new drivers are, but Sean Hayes gets into her there. Great save from Ashley Lyle, as Sean Hayes looked like he completely missed that corner. That's going to send Ashley Lyle a little bit wide, and I've heard of bump and runs before, but that takes it pretty much to a whole new level. I'm not sure what happened to Hayes there. It looked like he just missed that corner.
Alex,
and
there's bump and run, and then there's hit and say goodbye. And what Sean Hayes just did was a hit and say goodbye to Ashley, but she held on to that. Don't know how. That's why she's down there and we're up here. But I wouldn't expect Ashley to not repay the favor if she can get back to the back bumper as Sean.
Most certainly is. I mean, I know we're only on lap 5 of this race. We're only 10.5 minutes in, but I mean, that's kind of like a me personally. I wouldn't take that situation. I mean, like, if you're just driving, you know, you're just cruising along for the lead, you know, you still got 2/3 of the race left to go, and you just got shoved out of the way for the lead. I don't know. I mean, I personally would probably just retaliate, maybe just a little. Cameron Hibbett looks like a little bit of blinking from the lead there, as Otis Adams pretty much gaining 3/10 down that entire straightaway, and that's just really showing how effective the slipstream is. We know it always plays a factor in these races, but that's really showing it there, as Simon Foweather, it looks like, is now on hashtag not a team, judging off of that car, as Eugenio Polici, who also has a new, no, I was looking at the wrong car. That's Rui Coimbra right in front of him. So Simon Foweather there with a new paint job there. I thought that was Eugenio Pellicci driving that car, but Eugenio is a little bit further behind as Simon Foa. Just trying to hang on with this lead pack. As really, this lead pack has a lot of drivers right now. Is pretty much consists of the entire top 10.
Yeah, this is really impressive right now. These guys, well, other than Camden Hibbett, who seems to be finding a way to check out in the lead. I do have to say, though, what I've noticed with this track, even though there is a big backstretch, I really thought there was going to be more slipstreaming, and there is, for sure. You can see that, but it's if you have a little bit, just a little better skill through these slower speed corners, it actually pays off more than what we've seen in races past here on Spec 5.
Well, the thing is, most other straightaways in this series are extremely long, like the Road Atlanta back straight. That can lead to so many battles, not only because it's a super long straightaway, but because it is uphill. And that's another thing that affects the slipstream of these cars. Is Sean Hayes looks like starts to pull away from Ashley Lyle just a little. That's one thing that can affect these cars as pretty much the elevation on straightaways. You know how much the slipstream affects these cars on tracks like the Road Atlanta back straightaway. That's because that's uphill. You're not going to see a lot of that on Twin Ring Motegi because pretty much the longest straightaway goes downhill throughout the entirety of its length. It's like the Suzuka Circuit front straight. As here we're going to go on board of Camden Hibbett, Ronnie Coates behind him as well, and you can see how much, like, I'm trying to find the word right now. How much down, or I can't even think of the word for it.
You can keep trying,
right
Alex.
now.
You got this. Come on now.
Yeah, we're gonna go for it. We're gonna go for it. But how much that straightaway brings the drivers down, and really just that elevation change, that downhill, is gonna just keep pushing them forward, using the gravity to just bring the cars forward. So it really negates the effect of the slipstream, and it makes the most effective spots for passing pretty much turns 1, 3, and 5.
It really does, and I wouldn't have expected that. Whoa, as I say something, there goes Camden Hibbett Ronnie Coates back to the lead, overtaking Camden Hibbett. Now, Camden went pretty wide there, so he's got to be careful because now he's going to start becoming under attack from Zach Burke, and if that first pass that we saw from Sean Hayes is anything to be said, we may see a few more of those, depending on how the stewarding goes this season. Maybe these guys are trying something out here in race 1 to see what they can get away with, but man, race 1, if you can get a pretty good finishing position here, it really cements your role, I guess, I would say, here in this not very short, but short in season for Spec 5, only 7 races.
Yeah, I mean, last season we had 10 races to go through now, but each race is going to be more and more crucial for these drivers, which is why for people like Joshua Soto, it's not going to be easy for them to recover unless there are drop weeks involved. It's not going to be easy for drivers like Joshua Soto or maybe Jordy Fike to recover from missing a race or two because we only have 7 races, and that just makes each more race so much more crucial, and we're probably going to see a lot more battling for the lead and a lot more aggressive driving as drivers know that they haven't got a lot of time to get up to the front and make moves and get points. So I would reckon that might lead to a lot more aggressive driving.
Yeah, it probably will. Knowing how these drivers drive normally, it's going to be pretty tough, I would say, to just have these drivers start running people off the road. As we know, this is one of the better leagues, if not the best league that we cover when it comes to safe driving, but very close driving. Now, the question is, what is the difference between aggressive driving and wrecking? You know, and that's really what's going to come into play, I think, especially, again, with this shortened season. Drivers needed to get points as quick as they can. It's going to be interesting for sure.
Yeah, Adam, and with these really tight corners with these drivers, I mean, it's going to be really close, and if they do, you know, it's going to be a lot of speculation on whether or not, was that just a really nice tight move, or was it, just a blatant wreck? So it will be really exciting to see how the rest of the race goes.
Yeah, I mean, and this is only the first the first race of the season. So really going to be interested to see how these other races come around, might as well, since we're talking about Imola coming up, and then Phillip Island, Alex. Phillip Island's going to be one that we're really going to be able to see how aggressive these drivers want to be.
Yes, I mean, the finish we had a couple of races or a couple of seasons ago, and I mean, the races that we had there in the past, it was just absolutely insane. I'm pretty sure, and I know this happened twice last season, but there was a race at Phillip Island, I remember, that had 3 open class drivers. I can't remember who they were, but they came down to the line with the checkered flag waving 3 wide down to the line. And I know that happened twice last season at Sebring and at Monza, but it is just absolutely a sight to behold, that circuit. And even in real life too, I mean, I know not many people watch MotoGP, but I certainly do. And the race that they had at Phillip Island a couple of weeks ago was absolutely insane. So that track always puts on a show. And we're here at Twin Ring Motegi tonight, not to ignore that. And I would say this track's certainly putting on a show as well.
With this being the first race of the season too, Alex, these drivers, they're going to try and make a statement. You know, they want to see how everybody compares in the league. They want to, you know, especially these open class drivers, they're trying to prove something, and hope, you know, we'll see who pops.
Most certainly, and I mean, that's one of the biggest things, is seeing who cracks under the most pressure. And now green flag pit stop starting to get underway as Ray Lombardi now into the pit lane, as Brian Zabelski going to follow suit. Ray Lombardi, I believe, won the open class championship last season, so he's in the pro class now. So green flag pit stop's officially underway, as you can just see how many cones people just don't. I swear, I'm going on a tangent. I'm going on a tangent. People do not give these cones respect. They have families. They have children at home that they need to take care of. Respect the cones. Save the cones, all right? Put it out everywhere. Anyways, back to the matter at hand. 2 drivers are side by side for the lead. The 31 and the 32 car, there it goes side by side into turn number 7. And it looks like Ronnie Coates has the advantage at the moment as they head through turn 7, but through 8, Camden Hibbett's going to have the inside line. But I think Ronnie Coates going to have sealed the deal on this one, as even through turn number 8, no, they're still side by side. Ronnie Coates lunges ahead as they head towards the short shoot. Zach Burke almost hits him there. And it looks like Ronnie Coates going to retake the lead, and everybody's sorting themselves back out now.
Yeah, he did. These drivers, they're coming down the stretch on this hairpin. They're all going to be looking for this slipstream down this stretch, seeing what kind of move they can make into this next corner. We'll see what kind of moves Hibbett and Coates make. The 31 and 32 car, I mean, they've been battling all race, and this corner is no different. Oh, barely misses him.
Yeah, that was really close as they headed off of that final straight, and it looks like 3 cars into the pit lane now, 4 cars into the pit lane, make it 5. Eugenio Polici heading in, so now the green flag pit stop's officially underway as Ronnie Coates, Otis Adams Jr., Michael Coates, Sean Ruiz, and Eugenio Polici all into the pit lane. And now is Camden Hibbett, Zach Burke, Mitchell Peak, Simon Foweather, and Rui Coimbra out of the drivers that stayed out that time, come out of the pits. It looks like these 5 are going to try and stay out for another lap, as there is still a very tight battle going on for the open class lead, as Ashley Lyle and Sean Hayes continue to duel it out. And Jacob, I know you said beforehand you aren't too familiar with the racing technical stuff, and I'm about to explain to you something. When it comes to green flag pit stops, and do tell me if you know what I'm talking about, when it comes to pitting, there are these things called undercuts and overcuts. An undercut is when a lead car pits before all the other lead lap cars. That way you have fresher tires for a short run. An overcut is when a driver decides to stay out for a while and just try and have fresher tires for the end of the run. And with that knowledge, Jacob, what do you think that these open drivers are going to have to do? Do you think they're going to try and pit early, try and have better tires for a short run, or try and overcut and have better tires for the end of the race?
Well, Alex, I really hope that they make the right decision, in my opinion, and pit early. I really think you should have a new set early on, just so, if you're going to overcut those road dogs out there, it's going to get sloppy in those corners. Those tires are not going to hold up in those tight corners with all those,
Wait a minute,
it's going to get nasty.
Jacob. Hang on. What did I just hear a term that I've never heard before? Did I hear road dogs? And you're going to have to explain what exactly road dogs are.
The road dog is the people that are deciding to stay out a little bit longer. The crew chief is telling them, hey, we need you to come in and get new tires. And the road dog is saying, 2 more. I'll get it in a minute. I got to make up 3/10. Okay, I'll be there in a second.
So basically, a road dog is me on an oval track when I burn up my right front tire.
That is correct, Alex, yes.
All right, cool. So pretty much the rest of the drivers that stayed out into the pits now, save for Zach Burke and Rui Coimbra, is Camden Hibbett, Mitchell Peak, Simon Foweather, Sean Hayes, Ashley Lyle, and Tom Athan all into the pits. Here comes Scott Keane and Bruce Silva as well. And it looks like Greg Brockway going to follow suit as well. Now we'll see where the other cars come out in relation to Camden Hibbett. Here comes Coates down the front straightaway. I think he might get him here. It is now Camden Hibbett and all of those drivers just starting to exit the pit lane. And it looks like Ronnie Coates is going to get around him. However, it's still going to be a very tight battle off of pit road, as Otis Adams Jr. going to still have to settle for third. And now these guys have to get back up to Ronnie Coates because they are quickly falling out of slipstream range. And if they don't catch up to him soon, Ronnie Coates could run away with this race. So they need to stop racing and focus forward at the moment, but still very close out of the pits. And Ashley Lyle, I was about to say Ashley Lyle takes over the open class lead, but never mind. It went to Tom Athan there in the 077 car. Yeah. So for now, Tom Athan takes over the lead. I thought he pitted with Ashley Lyle and Sean Hayes. Yes, he did. He pitted with them, so he took the lead off of pit road, and now he just has to check out for the rest of this race, but Ashley Lyle still closing that gap down, so I don't think he can stay comfortable anytime soon, as now Ashley Lyle gets that gap under a second, and it looks like she'll have an even better run out of that corner. So still, I would say Ashley Lyle, the fastest open class driver on track right now, but you can't count out Sean Hayes right behind her.
Sorry, Alex, I'm going to cut you off before we let Jacob get back in here. I did get a little bit of insider information, and I've got a few comments here on the YouTube as well. Wow, as Ashley gets extremely sideways there. Good save on her part. But 2 tires are free in this race. You're going to need about 2.6 gallons to get to the end after the stops. We're about 24 minutes in, and that's from what I was seeing. It's probably, they said the pit window was going to be about 7 to 11. So these guys that have come in later, these racers that have come in later, I apologize, Ashley. Please don't kill me. They had to take less fuel. But the left side tires, from what I've been hearing, are what you want to take. And I wish I would have stayed on somebody long enough to see what the difference was if people were taking 4 or 2. But you almost wonder, as we got Paulo Coimbra in the pits here. Let's take a quick look here and see if the left side or the right side or both sides of the car go up. See, there goes the left. Now, Alex, correct me if I'm wrong, but wouldn't the right side go up first if they were taking right sides first?
Well, usually I'm gonna push up my NASCAR glasses real fast and use that to see, or to at least make a guess in terms of what tires drivers will take. But usually, on a track like this, a pit crew will usually tend, when they can only do one side at a time, they will usually tend to do the outside tires first. So say the wall is to the left of the car, they're going to do the right side tires first. So I reckon they did the right sides first. I think whoever that was, we were looking at. I think Rui Coimbra stayed out an extra lap there. Open up that pit thing and get at him. Let's take a look. open up that pit thing. Come on, you got it. You're the producer guy. Okay, so yeah, Rui Coimbra and Lee Martin have yet to pit. So I would assume Rui's probably going to come into the pits this lap, just try and get that over with. This might be his last opportunity, unless he saved a lot of fuel in that number 78 car. But I wouldn't be shocked about. Yeah, I wouldn't be shocked about. Well, Adam, we're not heading down the front straightaway right now. The pit exit is currently about a mile up the road.
First of all, Alex, I was not in the broadcast when I said that, but thanks for outing me. And yes, I thought he was staying out, and he was going down the backstretch. I would expect Rui to come in this lap for sure. He's going to have to, as well as Lee Martin. You can see that both of those drivers have not yet pitted. So it's going to be interesting, as looks like there goes Rui, and see if Lee Martin decides to follow him in. It's going to be interesting to see where these guys come out. No way Lee Martin stays out another lap.
He's got the fuel figured out, and my apologies for outing you there. I thought you were talking on the broadcast, so my apologies there. Did not mean to do that, but it looks like Ronnie Coates is currently checking out away from the field, as it looks like he's opened up about a 2-second gap from Camden Hibbett there. So unless Otis Adams, is Ronnie Coates, he actually set the fastest lap that time by with a 2:14.123. So I would reckon, unless Camden Hibbett and Otis Adams, unless they try and work together back behind him, I think if Ronnie just hangs in there, tries to hold on, I think he might add this.
Yeah, Alex. Ronnie is looking really fast. His last lap says everything. But, it looks to me like he's going to just look to create more space this next lap. Looks like Hibbett is trying to catch up to get back into a slipstream, but we'll see what he can do.
Take a look at this open class, though. These top three, Ashley has found her way around Tom. Now, Sean Hayes has to find his way around Tom, because Ashley's got the pace if she can get a little bit of battling behind him. I wouldn't count Ashley out for this open class win tonight, Alex.
I wouldn't count any of the three of these drivers out for the open class win tonight. They've all shown a lot of speed. Sean Hayes and Ashley Lyle have just had the most raw pace out of any open driver here tonight, and Tom Athan got that pit strategy absolutely perfect, and now he's doing a great job hanging on to the fastest open drivers in the field. So all three of those drivers could walk away with a win tonight. It's just all comes down to making the right moves at the right time, and it looks like, Camden Hibbett's starting to close that gap down a little bit, but overall, just Ronnie Coates continuing to check out. It looks like using that slipstream, Camden Hibbett has the gap now under 2 seconds by about a tenth of a second there. But it looks like, Lee Martin into the pits now, as I should have mentioned a little bit ago. But Lee Martin into the pits as Ronnie Coates continues to just check out here. His Camden Hibbett just needs to do everything that he can to close up this gap, and I think SDK is having a little bit of fun there, as I don't think a 5-second gap is accurate. There it goes back to what it's supposed to be, about 2.1 seconds, and it looks like Camden Hibbett's lap was a little bit faster, as Michael Coates can easily slide there for second there on Otis Adams Jr. So Camden Hibbett's lap is about 100th faster than Ronnie Coates's, and that's not going to be enough to close this gap down.
Not even close, Alex. But the rest of these drivers, they're driving hard, and like you said, those three open class drivers, they're putting. They are. It looks like we found the ones that are kind of starting to outshine early on in the first race of the season. But there's still a lot of season left.
And Ashley Lyle, she's got a decent amount of breathing room, and I know that a gap of about 5/10 doesn't seem like a lot of breathing room, but Ashley has a whole car separating her and Tom Athan on track right now, and currently the gap from Ashley to Tom Athan, I would say, is about 1.1 seconds due to Lee Martin just hanging out in the battle for the open class lead right here. So Ashley Lyle, if she can just hang on, has a very good shot to walk away with the win. If she can just hold on, try and just keep those drivers behind her, just try and use this. Or, excuse me, somebody's going around there. That was Michael Coates. That was Michael Coates, got very loose off the corner into the short chute. It looks like that might have been off the bumper of Otis Adams Jr., if I'm not mistaken. Is now Simon Foweather and Mitchell Peak side by side for fourth there through the hairpin. And here's a replay of it. Looked like there's Michael Coates up in the green car. And it looks like, just gets sideways. Yeah, just gets sideways. Can't save it. Oh, Mitchell, insane evasive maneuvers there to keep himself out of that. That was a very impressive driving to not damage his car, but I mean, that's going to pretty much take Michael Coates out of contention as the field starts to spread out a little bit. Mitchell Peak and Simon Foweather side by side through the final couple of corners. That's something you don't see very often, as Mitchell Peak trying to go for the over-under there, but it looked like he was too close to make the move, and that was very impressive driving from this number 56 car to keep his car clean.
Yeah, it was, Alex. And all these other drivers, they are really fighting through these last few laps. But they're all looking really strong out in the field.
Jacob, let me ask you something here. This is your first broadcast ever. This is your first Miata race ever. What do you think, now that you've sat here for about 33 minutes, what do you think is the winning strategy right now? If you've got somebody that you think, I'm going to tell you right now, my winning strategy, if I'm Ronnie Coates, is I'm going to pull a line from the Randall McGrew book of commentating and say, Ronnie Coates is ripping his mirrors off right now. He's not looking. He has no idea what's going on behind him. He doesn't want to know. But if you're Camden Hibbett or Otis Adams or Ashley Lyle or Sean Hayes, what do you think? When do you want to make the move? You can tell that there is draft. Draft is effective on this track. When do you go for that move if you can?
Well, a lot of the time, coming down the straight on whenever you're in the slipstream like that, and you're coming to the corner right about there is whenever you want to make that move if it's there. But a lot of the time, whenever getting tight in the battles in the corners. I mean, these drivers are really looking to make plays, and their feelings are put to the side. And let's see, what cars are those that are
Looks like
Mitchell Peak and Foweather and Simon Foweather. Let's see. They're still battling through these corners. They're coming in tight and fast, and I don't even know what to say. They're all over the place on each other's butts. They've got tunnel vision right now. They're trying to stay in that stream and make a move.
Yeah, and another thing about that is Zach Burke is really just trying all he can to become invested in this battle, and now he will. He gets on the inside of Simon Foweather through turn number 2. That's going to move him into the top 5, as this 3-car battle for 4th is not chilling out at all, as these drivers, like you said, tunnel vision right now, breathing down each other's necks at the moment for P4, and that's something that just happens all the time in this series. Drivers just get super close, and they just start racing each other without even realizing what else is happening on the racetrack. And currently, I want to go back to Ashley Lyle for the open class lead, because she's starting to pull out a decent gap from Lee Martin. And the thing is, what could be running through Ethan's head right now is if Ethan tries to get around Lee Martin, tries to race him for that spot, they could lose so much time to Ashley Lyle that there's nothing they can do to catch back up. And that would just pretty much give Ashley Lyle a free win.
Yeah, it would. So if right now we're looking here, you can see Sector 1, Martin was about 0.2 of a second off. But now that Martin's pulled a little bit of a gap to Tom Athon and Sean Hayes, look at the amount of time he's gaining in these sectors. He's coming now, Alex. And this is just goes to show as Ashley gets loose again. What a save again on her part. But, man, that just opens up Lee Martin to make a move right now.
Yeah, and Lee is still going for pro class position. So another thing to mention that I probably should have mentioned at the top of the show is that even though there are two separate classes, because they are the same cars, the two separate classes do not have their own point system. On any given race day, they all go for the same points. So say if you win the open class and you finish in P10 overall, you're going to get points for P10 overall. And if you're in the pro class and you finish like 16th, you're getting points for 16th, not points for where you finished in class. So that's another thing that maybe somebody like Lee Martin would have to worry about. He's realizing that he's losing these points to an open class driver right now, even though they aren't even fighting for the same championship. So if Lee Martin just realizes that, he might really try and work as hard as he can to try and get around Ashley.
Yeah, but with Ashley Lyle, I mean, she's really laying it down fast through these last couple of laps, and I can imagine it'll only continue. And with her getting loose, in quotation, I really think it's just controlled chaos, Alex. I think she knows what she's doing. You know, she's impressed me. She is the. I think she'll do good things in this league.
Absolutely. She made her debut last season, only ran, I think, maybe 2 races. As Sean Hayes goes for a move for a P2 in the open class, 13th overall from Tom 8th, and it looked like Tom almost tapped his left rear quarter panel there, trying to keep on his inside. That almost sent them both around, as it looks like Sean Hayes now going to try and be the one to get around Lee Martin to bring these drivers back into the fight against Ashley Lyle now. But like I was saying, Ashley Lyle, she made her debut last season, only ran, I think, maybe 1 or 2 races, and in those 2 races, she did an absolutely fantastic job. Won at Monza last season, and now looking to do the exact same thing tonight here at Twin Ring Motegi, but Sean Hayes still going to have a heck of a fight to put up against her. We just have to see if he can get around, if Sean Hayes can get around Lee Martin now, and that's pretty much just the main issue that they're having is, Sean Hayes needs to get around Lee Martin. That pro driver is holding him up from making a move for the open class lead. And speaking of moves, not even for the lead, but just for positions overall, Zach Burke still chasing down Mitchell Peak as Simon Foweather definitely still in this fight as well. It's a 3-car battle for the open class win and a 3-car battle for 4th overall.
Alex and Jake, I'm going to pose this question to you guys both here again with almost 5 minutes left to go. If you're going to make a move, when do you give up trying to chase down Ronnie Coates, right? When do you do that? And if you're Otis Adams Jr., when do you have to start making some moves? I mean, do you think these guys are tire saving, or do you think this is how this is going to end? This is a very weird ending to some of the Spec-5 races. Most of the Spec-5 races that I've seen, normally these guys are sitting here biding their time, racing together, but I've seen nothing but battles this whole race. So if you're Mitchell Peak and you're Zach Burke back here and Foweather, when do you give up sitting in line and start trying to make some moves?
Well, I don't know if there is a point where you give up fighting one another, and that because, I mean, these drivers could be thinking about, and I know we talked about it a little bit, but they could be thinking about the 7-race season. I mean, last season we had 10 races in this series, but we only have 7, and I know 3 races doesn't make a lot of a difference, but the thing is, if you go back from Road America last season, if you go back and we ended the season off at round 7 from last season, would Joshua Soto be champion? Would Ray Lombardi be champion in their respective classes? And that's the thing that these drivers have to worry about, is they realize that they are going to be fighting. Every point is going to count so much more than it did, Meanwhile, last season, you could have a pretty bad race. You could finish outside the top 10 if you're fighting for the championship and say the pro class. But for these drivers, I mean, they might be thinking that even if there's only 3 races missing off the season, I mean, that 1 point could make all the difference.
Well, speaking of Ray Lombardi here, Alex, we had this conversation before we went on stream, and there was a bit of confusion. And I'm starting to remember now, Sean Hayes had an off track or something happened to him that last race. Remember, him and Ray were battling there that last race of season 10. And I believe Ray Lombardi got the championship. He won this season, and that's why Sean Hayes is still in open, and Ray Lombardi's now in pro. I just noticed this. You've got a new promotion, Ray. Congratulations.
Yeah, and that I thought Ray Lombardi won the championship. I just didn't remember how. And it looks like we know now how. It looks like just incident less. I remember it. I believe it was in turn number 3, maybe. And just an incident for Sean Hayes sends him around. Just couldn't make up enough positions to retain the championship lead. But while we have a little bit of a break in the action as we wind down the final couple of laps, we're going to go to our one and only sponsor read for tonight, and it's for TPC Motorsports, which is a 4-year-old racing team based in Birmingham, Alabama.
Alex, I'm going to cut you off right now. There is no break. 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th are all battling at this moment. It looks like Zach Burke is going to get that 3rd position, but Mitchell Peak is coming back up on him. I'll give that sponsor read out later, Alex, because this is about to get real tight.
My apologies. My apologies. Zach Burke, oh wow! very sideways. That might have been the most excited I've gotten for a car going sideways. Wow. I don't know where that came from. I do apologize. That was probably painful to listen to. Don't know where that came from, but Zach Burke very sideways through that corner, ends up maintaining P3 as Mitchell Peak still on his tail. Like you said, Adam, it's a 4-car battle for this spot, and I want to go back to Ronnie Coates for just a second, then we can go back to these drivers, because I think we might be heading to the white flag of the race. It's about 2-minute, 15-second laps. We're under 2 minutes left in the race, so we'll have to look for the starter stand. And yes, you can see the flag man. He is waving the white flag, so we are now on the final lap of the first race of the Spec-5 World Tour from Twin Ring Motegi. So now back to these drivers. This is their final opportunity to make some moves, and same thing for the open class. Final opportunity for Sean Hayes to get around Lee Martin and try and make that move with the lead of the open class.
Yeah, and Adam, you said something about when is it time to just kind of forget about, just kind of lay back. When is the opportunity? It's not over until the fat lady sings. You know, you got to keep the hammer down until the checkered flag. Every point matters, in league races, and these drivers are fighting.
They certainly are fighting, and they are fighting hard, as Sean Hayes is going to have to get around Lee Martin now. We know Lee is going for points in the pro class. He's not just going to let Sean by, so Ashley has a pretty good shot here if she can just hold on as Sean Hayes. I mean, Lee Martin, that's the mistake. That's the mistake Sean needed from Lee Martin. Now he'll get to the inside of him. Sean Hayes is going to move himself into P12 overall, P2 in the open class. Lee Martin still fighting for this spot. This is what Ashley Lyle needs to see, but meanwhile, back up towards the front of the field, there's still a fight going on for P4 overall. Here it is, and it looks like all these drivers are spread out. So let's go right back to what we were just looking at. Sean Hayes and Lee Martin, I believe, are still side by side. No problem, Adam. I love you too. I heard that from the production truck. So it looks like Sean Hayes still side by side for Lee Martin with this, and almost contact there through turn number 7 is Lee Martin not giving an inch, and this is what Ashley Lyle loves to see here. It looks like, I mean, if she can just keep it together in the final couple of corners, she might end up winning this race, but back up towards the battle for the lead, it looks like not much happening up here. It looks like everybody just hanging out, but back up to the leader. Ronnie Coates got the pitch strategy absolutely perfect. Adam, I love you too, man. Don't even worry about it. Through the final corner, Ronnie Coates plays the pitch strategy perfectly. He'll win the day for the first race of season 11 of the Spec-5 World Tour. Camden Hibbett going to come home a solid P2. Zach Burke there in 3rd. And for the battle for the open class, it looks like Ashley Lyle going to hold on to it maybe as everybody else comes across the line. Rudy Coimbra and Michael Coates were going side by side for it. Coimbra gets 8th there. Sean Hayes tries to fight for it all he can, but he's not going to get there. Ashley Lyle is going to win her second Spec-5 World Tour race, and it's going to be the first race of season 11 at Twin Ring Motegi there in the number 96 car. Great performance from her.
Absolutely electric race out of everyone that night.
Yeah, most certainly. That was absolutely incredible racing. The hell, there's still battles going on for the in the back here as Greg Brockway trying to hold off Charles Vaccaro and Ray Lombardi here, as it looks like they're the final corner out of this back straightaway. Josh Olson, it looks like, gonna hang on to P21 if he can just navigate the final couple of corners without difficulty here. And it looks like, oh no, sideways! He went sideways! He's going to lose position to all three of those drivers. That is probably the worst mistake you can ever make. He just lost all of the positions he had there. And that's going to move Greg Brockway into 21st, Ray Lombardi into 22nd, Charles Vaccaro in 23rd, Josh Olson going to have to stick to 24th, and John Casey, after, I believe, incidents early on, going to have to stick with 25th here, rounds out the field at the bottom of the leaderboard. And just unfortunate race for him, but it looks like with everybody across the line, we can officially go through your race results here from Twin Ring Motegi as Ronnie Coates takes P1 there in the number 31 car. Cameron Ibbett comes home a solid P2. Zach Burke there in third. Mitchell Peak in fourth. Otis Adams Jr. there in fifth. Simon Foweather in sixth. Eugenio Polici in 7th, Rui Coimbra in 8th, Michael Coates in 9th, Sean Ruiz in 10th, Ashley Lyle holds off Sean Hayes to win the open class race there in P11 overall. Sean Hayes there in 12th, Lee Martin in 13th, Tom Athan in 14th, Scott Keane in 15th, Alexander Searle in 16th, Brian Zabelski in 17th, Apollo Coimbra in 18th, and behind them, come on Adam, you got it. Come on Adam. There you go. Bruce Silva there in 19th, Jose Gonzalez in 20th, Greg Brockway in 21st, Ray Lombardi in 22nd, Charles Vaccaro in 23rd, Josh Olson in 24th, and John Casey rounds out your field there in 25th. And what do you say? We head to some post-race interviews now, and it looks like we currently have one driver sitting in the waiting rooms, and that driver is Ashley Lyle. And Ashley, I dragged her to the wrong. Oh, that's not good. I dragged her. Is Discord gonna work with me here? There we go. Ashley, I do apologize. I dragged you into the VC for the WSR Indy series that runs alongside us. So that's mistake number 2 I've made up here in terms of post-race interviews. But how was that race for you? It looked like it went well.
I was accidentally talking in game. I was not talking in the right chat for a second. But yeah, that was a lot of fun. That was honestly like going in.
Oh no, are you with us?
Working? I'm
there
with
you
you.
go.
I'm sorry.
There you go.
For some reason lately, whenever I touch iRacing, my internet just decides to burst into flames. But only iRacing, and I don't know why. Anyway, going into practice for that, I felt like just complete dog water. Like I think I was the slowest car on the track for half that practice session. I mean, I honestly don't know when something started clicking, but at some point close to the end of the session, actually how to, slow these cars down and turn them, such trivial details actually started to click a little bit better. And then in the actual race itself, I got kind of lucky. I didn't really see who got collected at the start of the race ahead of me coming out of the downhill section. It could have been some open drivers. I don't really know. But that allowed me to get a little bit better track position and just kind of keep with people for a bit. But yes, that was very fun.
Yeah, and I mean, how was that race with Sean Hayes? And I saw Lee Martin racing you guys there, so how was that racing with him? And I mean, I know that you had to hold off Sean Hayes there, but did Lee Martin there give you a little bit of assistance?
I don't know if it was so much of assistance and so much as it was I was trying very desperately to kind of use him as a barrier between myself and Sean as much as I could. I mean, if we were 10 seconds ahead of the next open class, I wouldn't have fought him quite so hard, but I was very, very much trying to keep him between us. But that was a really great battle between the two of them. They are two I am coming to trust for close racing here.
And it looked like it most certainly. That was a very close battle between them. But before we let you go, anybody you thank here up in the booth?
Thanks to Greg for allowing me into this race. Not the race, the league as a whole. It's a lot of fun, particularly considering I could only race, a couple of events last season. Thanks to you guys for putting on the best broadcasting that is available on this platform consistently and readily. That's unrelated to the fact that you guys are on the car. And I also want to thank my mom. And because I hadn't actually said it to this point, congratulations, Adam, on getting married.
Yeah, thanks, Ashley. And before I let you go, excuse me, I have a couple questions for you as well.
Clear the throat there.
I've got a couple questions for you as well. Number one, I want to know who painted that car because that is a very nice looking car. And number two, what are your kind of feelings, your thoughts? Well, first of all, thank you for the shout out, by the way, but what are your thoughts for the rest of the season? Do you think you can get this open class win? Because judging by tonight, I think you're on it.
Well, I don't really know about the paint scheme. I think it was made by some lout from Phoenix called Madam, but I'm not entirely positive on that. In seriousness, thank you for making this for me, buddy. I absolutely love it. Very pretty car. Can you please repeat the second question? I have the brain of a flea. I'm sorry. I'm going to therapy next month and hopefully getting my ADHD stuff sorted out.
Sure. The second question would be, you finished first here in the open class, really technically by a long shot. It didn't look like that. You and Sean had a couple battles, but you were able to hold on to that car. We saw a few moments from you this race, but with that being said, do you think, we're only on race 1 of 7, but I think you've got a chance here for this open class championship. What do you think?
I think so long as my anger and complete refusal to be slower than I want keeps carrying through, I think I'll probably be fine. I mean, ultimately, it almost doesn't matter to me because my goal is to be racing up for total wins with the rest of the pro drivers, but I think I have a solid shot, at least. I'm looking forward to the battle that I think will develop between myself and Sean throughout the season, in any case.
Yeah, well, Sean Hayes was very close to that open class victory last season. Came down to the last race, had a mistake there on the final couple corners. So we'll see if we can have that again this season. Ashley, thank you so much. Alex, I'll hand you back over to her.
Might I add something?
Go ahead.
Ashley, Jacob Cummings. It's my first broadcast ever. Absolutely electric race. I mean, out of the open class, you were my favorite to watch by far. I'm looking forward to get to know you throughout the season. I'm looking forward to hopefully some more interviews in the future.
Well, thank you very much, Jacob. It's a pleasure to meet you.
Yes.
I'll watch back through the broadcast after, and I'm sure I'll find that you do as equally sterling of a job as Alex and Adam tend to.
I'm not gonna say anything about that. I'm gonna take to my own horn at all. But thank you for that, Ashley and Jacob. I definitely hope that we can share the booth again next week. But Ashley, I'm gonna drag you back. Congrats on the win tonight. We'll hope to see you up again here in the future.
Cool beans. Thank you all. I'm glad I proved that Monza wasn't a fluke.
All right. Well, I never thought it was, but all right. Have a good night.
Yep, y'all as well.
And that was Ashley Lyle. I don't know why I just pronounced was with a W. Wow. I don't know why I just pronounced was with an H. That's a first. But Adam, I know you just mentioned to do upcoming broadcasts, but I see Ronnie Coates here, so we're gonna ignore that. We're gonna interview the overall race winner. Here he is, Ronnie Coates. I apologize if I just interrupted you in the middle of a conversation, but you won the day by a long shot here. You played the pit strategy absolutely perfectly, and you got it done here tonight at Twin Ring Motegi.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, this is a really, really tough track, really, and I'm soaked right now.
Well, you know what? It was exhilarating to watch from up here too, and I mean, I want to mention that pit strategy you took. I mean, you ended up getting about 2 seconds just off of pits ahead of Camden Hibbett there. So I mean, what did you do there? I mean, I don't want to make you expose maybe a strategy or so, but I mean, what did you do there?
Yeah, I actually think the biggest thing, I actually did practice coming out there on cold tires. He pitted a lap after I did, and we were pretty close together coming out of the pit lane there. And I think with the fresher tires, it kind of helped me. You know, I had a little heat in mine with just that one lap on the left side, so it kind of helped.
Yeah. I mean, those heat in your tires, it looked like it helped you a lot as you were able to pretty much pull away ever since then. And before we let go, anybody want to maybe give it a little bit of a shout out to?
Sure, all the guys over at Not a Team, we've been practicing together and kind of mixing it up on here, so it's really helped the racecraft. So big shout out to those guys.
Yeah, and I am sure they will appreciate that. But unless anybody else in here has for you, and I'll give them a second to speak. All right, doesn't look like it, but Ronnie, congrats on the win tonight. Great job from you. Hopefully we'll see you up again here next week from, I believe, Imola.
All right, sounds good. Thanks so much for doing the broadcast, guys. It's always fun to go back and watch the race, so thanks.
Great race, Ronnie. Absolutely electric. I loved it. I'm looking forward to watching you the rest of the season, man.
All right, appreciate it. Thank you so much.
All right, have a good night. And that was Ronnie Coates, your winner overall, but Jacob, I believe.
Yeah, and today we have TPC Motorsports is the sponsor. TPC Motorsports is a 4-year-old racing team based in Birmingham, Alabama that currently races a Caterham 7420R in the HSR series and a BMW Spec-5 46.
Yeah, so big shout out to them for sticking their neck out of the woods, supporting the Spec-5 World Tour. It gives us a chance to do what we love to do every Thursday and night. But unless, Jacob, you have, I'll take us to the upcoming broadcast real fast. This Sunday, the that's not very accurate, Adam. You didn't do a very good job on these notes that I'm reading here. I didn't realize it was chat. So I do apologize for that, Adam. So in the upcoming broadcast this Tuesday, the WSRL Normal Series, not the Endurance Series. I got that wrong. Not the Endurance Series. This Tuesday returns at 8:45 p.m. EST with the LMP2 and GT3 cars at Circuit Gilles Villeneuve. Going to be an interesting race from them. And next Thursday, the WSRL IndyCar Series returns with those Dallara IR18 Indy cars from Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps. And that track is absolutely electric, so you're definitely not going to want to miss that. And next Thursday, running alongside that at 9:15 p.m. EST, we got some more Spec-5 World Tour action coming at you, this time from Imola with our Mazda Miata MX-5 Cup cars. And they always put on a show at that track, so you're not going to want to miss that. But just what an absolutely fantastic race from this series, Jacob.
It was a lot of fun. It was my first broadcast. It was a little shaky at moments for myself, but on the track, great racing all around, battles, nonstop, great finishes. I mean, we really got to get a good look at the drivers, and I'm looking forward to the rest of the season.
Me too, most certainly, and looks like that is going to do it for us. My name is Alex Andersen. I have been joined in the commentary booth by Jacob Cummings with Adam Thompson in our virtual production truck, and for the first race of Season 11 of the Spec-5 World Tour from Twin Ring Motegi, we'll see y'all later.